Today I continue from where we left off last time at the Iron Master's Mansion Hostel in southern Pennsylvania. What a wonderful place to wait out the rainstorms, enlivened even further by the quirky and awesome personalities of my fellow thru-hikers. Fresh Grounds was in the area again, and he made us all breakfast from a nearby parking lot the next day.
You want to look behind the table? I got potatoes cooking. I've got these are blueberry pancakes, and we have some what do you call this? French toast, right?
Man,
A little butter on it.
there's a reason this guy is famous. I was the first one out the door this morning after an awesome breakfast, courtesy of Fresh Grounds yet again. And I just gotta say, walking down this crushed gravel path in a state park as the sun rises for the first time in 3 days, there is literally nowhere on this earth I would rather be right now, or nothing I would rather be doing. This is amazing.
The aftermath of all that rain was a soaked trail and persistently wet feet for a few days.
Water on the trail has been pretty much constant. Sort of like walking through a shallow creek.
But on the plus side, all the water sources were now fully recharged and flowing with renewed enthusiasm.
Ha!
Gradually, the terrain began to change as I worked my way north. More of the trail surface was becoming rock instead of just smoothly packed dirt boulevards like back in Maryland. This video is from an area called the Rock Maze. During my time in Pine Grove Furnace, I had a chance to tour the Appalachian Trail Museum, which contained an exhibit on the many thru-hiking accomplishments and published works of Heather Anderson, more commonly known by her trail name, Anish. Imagine my surprise as I looked up from the trail in front of me to discover Anish hiking the same stretch of trail. We chatted briefly, and then she humored me with this selfie before taking off again at a pace that left me far behind.
Hi, how are you?
And then suddenly I was walking on city streets into the town of Boiling Springs. It's a quiet town with an amazing restaurant right next to the trail where a local resident regaled us with stories of Boiling Springs' colorful past as I scarfed down some huevos rancheros. I found a cemetery dating all the way back to Revolutionary War times, and tried my best to connect with these exotically patterned wild buffalo, but to no avail.
No response.
Probably what's gonna happen. She goes, yes, Chloe, you can have your own little mini, it doesn't have to be by the house. It's like in the backyard.
A group of us camped together one night just south of Duncannon at the site of a very old overturned automobile. We decided it was the wreckage of a moonshiner from back in Prohibition days. It rained just a bit more. And then I ran across Fresh Grounds yet again, set up and serving out an unbeatable breakfast. This man's ability with a skillet is matched only by the hilarity of his stories. He is absolutely a piece of the history and the magic of this trail. Another part of the history and magic of the Appalachian Trail is located in the small town of Duncannon at the Doyle Hotel. The history of this place begins in the late 1800s, and it's been through fires and social upheavals and alternating cycles of neglect and rebirth ever since. It's passed through many owners in that time, including the Anheuser-Busch Brewing Company in its early days and a winner of the Irish Lottery back in the 1940s. I urge you to pause the video at this point and take a look at the article I've linked below entitled Death and Decay at the Doyle Hotel. It's a morbid yet hilarious tale dating from back in 1999, featuring the legendary in his own right character of Baltimore Jack. I was captivated with this place and the stories that it held, and I even walked over to the old Duncannon train station to retrace the path of travelers from the 1800s as they arrived into town seeking accommodations at this historic hotel. As I left town, smiling and recently showered, I could feel the terrain continuing to change. We were definitely coming up on the rocks for which Pennsylvania is nicknamed, either Painsylvania or Rocksylvania. A single misstep here can be dangerous, as seemingly all these rocks are razor sharp and they're all pointed right at you. This was the damage in my own case. While the scrapes were superficial, it was the swelling underneath that became painful. More on this, unfortunately, in the next episode.
This is the Beaver Dam, somewhere north of Duncannon, Pennsylvania. But I've got to figure out how to get across. I think this is going to be fun. Nope.
I ran into several instances of trail magic all across Pennsylvania. What a morale boost, especially on this particularly muggy day. As temperatures warmed up a bit, I experimented with night hiking. Unfortunately, I spent the majority of that time lost and off the trail, but finding the trail in Pennsylvania was occasionally a challenge even in full daylight. And then I found this section where the Forest Service did a controlled burn a couple of years back. It's cool how the path here is lined with such a vibrant green against a background of blackened and charred death.
Hello, Snicky Snake. I'm getting out of here.
From a Google image search, I believe this snake was likely a rat snake, and I watched him wander off and then climb this tree. Google informs me this one was a northern copperhead. And then later, I accidentally stepped right over this timber rattlesnake without even noticing. A friend walking behind me heard the rattles and called my attention to it. Close call, but also a great photo op. And then, from way up in a tree, off in the distance, I got a few shots of this pileated woodpecker. Last but not least, I also saw a handful of bears. It was time to resupply again, and maybe even to find a shower. A fellow thru-hiker was meeting her husband in the town of Port Clinton, and they let me tag along as we scored some town food and then went off in search of hotels. On the way out of Port Clinton, I met this awesome couple who were celebrating a birthday together on the trail.
Good, sir.
All right. We're recording. All right.
Hold my question.
I'm going to look heroic. Okay.
The Eckville shelter was a departure from the norm for shelters on the AT, but I give it a full 5 stars in this review. It actually appears to be a former work shed in some guy's backyard. I met some more awesome people while staying here, including yet another rat snake.
Sometimes they'll wind up on a stick if you get them. Yes.
Look at that.
Bye-bye. Go catch a mouse.
Next up was the Lookout Hostel, yet another fantastic lodging option filled with even more wonderful and quirky thru-hikers.
It went in the dryer though.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Does anybody? There's a couple more pieces of pizza.
Yeah.
No, we're good.
Yeah.
We'll just save for first round.
But I have to but at least bring it. This probably doesn't look like anyone's first choice for refilling the water, but
This view is of the descent into Delaware Water Gap, where we stayed in the basement of the Church of the Mountain. Turns out this is the oldest continuously operating hostel on the entire Appalachian Trail.
So the chicken, it was actually with Moonpants and Bath and Frodo, we were kind of the crazy chicken squad. And then I found that crazy chicken in the Walmart, so I figured he was coming with us on the AT. So crazy chicken, crazy Joe.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
This fine establishment was the Deerheads Inn, where we spent a wonderful evening with drinks and live jazz music on their front porch.
Sam Summer.
One of those, please.
The next day was a day for recovery and napping. And after 230 miles, that brings me to the end of Pennsylvania, at the halfway point of a long bridge over the Delaware River. The adventure north continues from here. Thanks for joining me, and please stay tuned for more in the days ahead.